Hi guys, it's Mrs. Tucker again. We're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off with the focused note-taking process. Remember, there are 5 phases. We went through 1, 2, and 3 yesterday. So we're on phase 4 and on phase 5 today. There's going to be a few things I'm going to ask you to do, and we will get to it. So, 4th phase is summarizing and reflecting on your learning. So what does that mean? You need to think about the notes as a whole, a big picture, not just one person and what they did, not just one formula. What is this whole group of notes trying to teach me? What is important about the whole group of notes? So let's talk about summarizing and let's talk about reflecting. So first, a summary. This is where you want to tell me exactly what you've learned. No, do not go back and rewrite everything you've learned, but you're going to capture the most important aspects of your notes. So this would be key people, key places, key things, key ideas, formulas, rules, anything like that that helps you understand the bigger picture. You could also answer the essential question that was posed to you by your teacher or your notes. The second thing you can do is reflect. How will this be useful? How is this going to help you meet the note-taking objective? And guys, I'm not just saying these notes will be useful because they will help me study for my test. Yes, that is true, and you're not lying, but how are they going to help you study for the test? I know on this test, I'm going to have to be able to demonstrate which formula to use in which circumstance. So I think that these notes really has given me useful tools how to decide which formula to use with which problem. Much different than it's going to help me on the test. So I really need you to start thinking a little bit deeper. Now, with phase 5, you actually have to apply what you've learned from the notes. So this is, you're going to use your notes for whatever purpose they were. So now I took notes, I'm going to go take a test. I took notes, now I need to go review vocabulary. I took notes, now I need to go have a class discussion. So what was the purpose for these notes? And now I have to apply everything that I've learned from those notes by doing something, saying something, showing something. You're going to demonstrate what you've learned, apply it to a new situation. Okay. Now, some ways you could apply your learning are Socratic seminars, debates, research, writing, doing a presentation, having a quiz, doing some kind of experiment, having, writing a blog, giving a speech. Again, guys, these are all going to depend on what class you're in and what the teacher is asking you to do. But understand, you're taking everything you've learned from your notes and you're doing something with it. Here's the hard part about Avid. This is really how we can determine if you are doing well with note-taking and you are actually using your notes for their intended purpose. But I'm not in your class to hear your presentation. I'm not there to listen to the class discussion. I don't ever see your final essay or research paper. So I don't always get to see how you have applied your learning. And that is one thing we want to change this year. Instead of saying, here's my notes, Mrs. Tucker, I took notes. Look, I even highlighted. That doesn't actually help you. It lets me see, sure, you took notes, but were you able to use these notes in class to benefit you? That is one of the big things we want to change this year about Avid. How can you show me that your notes helped you on the debate, helped you on the speech, helped you on the panel discussion, helped you on the test? So be prepared. That is going to be a change for this year. Now, again, we're going to practice. Let's go ahead and practice. So we're going to review the 5 phases: taking notes, processing notes, connecting thinking, summarizing and reflecting, and applying learning. I wouldn't be surprised if there was going to be a focused note-taking quiz and I needed to know what these 5 phases are and know them in order. Okay, now, so we said, did you write down the note-taking purpose from slide 1? If not, I would go back to my video from yesterday. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to escape, because you'll notice it says we're going to add to our notes by watching a student overview video. So let me escape from here. I've got the video set up over here. I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and you should be able to hear the video. All right, get ready. All right, guys, so that's very interesting. I want you to think about that and think about what it said. We're talking about repetition. So think about the last time that you heard a song that you really liked. Sometimes what happens is we start to learn the verse or the chorus. We hear it over and over. But then we start to learn the different verses, the beginning of the song, the middle of the song, because we hear it over and over, whether it's on our phones or whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on the radio. If you hear it over and over, before you know it, you can practically sing the whole song. Well, notes, that's what the video is saying, is we tend to forget. If I take notes in class and I never look at the notes again, then I'm going to forget most of what I wrote down. But if I take notes in class and I look at them again and look at them again and look at them again, repetition, then I'm actually going to remember. So that's why Avid uses this process, guys. We want you to be successful with your note taking. And as I told you, note taking is much more important when it comes to college. So if you can practice this in high school, get better at it each year, then you're going to be better prepared for college. All right, so let's go ahead and look at phase 2. So you went ahead and took notes. Now, if you're sitting at home, you cannot compare your notes with a partner. You cannot compare, and I'm talking about these notes that we've taken. But I want you to take time. You're going to pause the video, and I want you to process your notes. Go through everything. Underline things that are important, highlight things that are important, write questions about, well, I wonder why this, I wonder why that. Delete things you think are not important. See if you can chunk or group things, but take probably about 5 or 6 minutes, go through everything you just wrote down from yesterday and anything you added today, and I want you to process your notes. You will show me a picture of your processed notes a little bit later. All right, see you in a minute. Awesome. I hope you had a great time processing your notes and trying to figure out what was important. Now, with processing your notes, you also want to practice dividing your notes into chunks. What goes together? So sometimes it says in the left column, write down the main idea of each chunk. So again, if you're in a social studies class or even like an English class and you're talking about a novel or a story, one of the main ideas might be this particular character John Smith. So to the left of your column, you put John Smith, and in your notes, everything about John Smith that you need to know. Who was he? Who was he related to? Why is he important in the story? And if you want to, you can use words and phrases you circled and underline in each chunk, and then you write a synthesis statement. I'm not going to make you do that, guys, but this is something that if you want to start practicing. So if I circled the word that he was an antagonist, then I might want to write one sentence that explains or says something about being an antagonist, okay? So let's go to phase 3, connecting our thinking. As a class, I want you to think outside of your notes by sharing questions and original thinking and writing in the left column or in the text. Now, if you're at home, you can't do this. But what I'm going to ask you to do if you're at home, so if you're in class with me, you're going to do this with a partner. If you're at home, I want you to create questions about the notes. Think of it this way. Mrs. Tucker might quiz us. I need to be able to apply this and understand this. What are some questions about the notes that I could ask? I'm going to give you a very basic one. What are the 5 phases of the focused note-taking process? That would be one question. But guys, that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy. Remember, your tests are not just going to be, who is George Washington? What's today's date? You're going to have to be able to really explain and understand the concepts that you're writing notes about. So if you're creating questions for me, I really want you to think about questions that are going to help you process and understand the focused note-taking phases, all right? You're also going to add some original thinking, make some connections. What does this remind you of? If you're one of my avid veterans and you've been in avid since 6th grade, 7th grade, how does this connect to what we've been talking about note-taking since you were younger? So go ahead and stop your video now. I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to write questions about your notes. The first question I get, Mrs. Tucker, how many questions do we need? How many questions do you need to better understand and be prepared for this note-taking process? You answer that. All right, I'll be right back with you. I can't wait to see some of the questions you guys came up with. So let's go to phase 4. You are now going to write a summary reflection at the bottom of your notes. You are going to stop right now and write a summary reflection. Remember, I want you to focus on what did you learn? So when it comes to focused note taking, what did you learn? What are some of the important aspects? And reflect, how is this going to be useful? How is this going to help you? All right, stop your video now. Write a summary. But Mrs. Tucker, how many sentences? How many sentences do you feel it needs to be to clearly summarize? Back once again, it's the incredible. Okay, that was from a real old hip hop song. Sorry. I've been wanting to do that all semester and I haven't. All right, so now we're going to have to apply the learning. But guys, here's the thing. You're going to need to show me something to let me see that you understand the 5 phases. So this is what you're going to do. You are going to creatively demonstrate using either a poster or in this case, a digital presentation, how focused note taking is like another process. So let me give you an example. I went ahead and started one. So for me, I said, focus notes is like baking a cake. And so I put step 1. I need to know what I'm baking. So remember the purpose of my notes. So I know what ingredients I need. This is like phase 1 of focus notes because I need to know my purpose. And then I put a little picture there. Then I have 2. When baking a cake, I need to know the correct measurements to make sure what I'm baking tastes good. This is like phase 2 because I need to process what I'm doing to better understand it. I need to know how to bake the cake, what to mix together in order for it to taste good, right? So I only showed you 2 steps, guys, but you should have several more steps to show me how something, my example is baking a cake, is like something else. It could be athletics. It could be something else that has to do with school. Be creative. So go ahead and stop your video. Actually, this video is about to stop, so I'm going to start a new one, guys. Hold on.